Hello, America. Hello to all of my fellow veterans and their families out there. Hope everybody's doing good and ready for the holidays here. Uh, Hopefully, you're prepared for this major storm that's going to hit. I guess it's already hitting some people. Um, Today is a very special episode for me. Unfortunately, Kevin can't join us today. Um, I wish he could because he's a big huge part of this. Today we have two special guests, Gina and Kim. They helped co-author a book with Kevin and I about how we all became friends while advocating for the PACT Act. And we got some very good news last night that the book is now available for pre-sale on Amazon, and I will be posting a link here in a little bit. But welcome to the show, Gina and Kim. How are you ladies doing today?
We're doing good. I'm doing really good. I'm out here in just outside of Nashville, Tennessee, and the sun is shining. But just like you said, Tim, there's a little bit of a cold front that's going to be coming through, and we're going to get a little affected by it as well.
Yeah.
But all is well.
Good. And looks like Gina's frozen there. How you doing, Gina, if you can hear us? All right. She's moving a little bit there. All right. Now, like I said, we all collaborated on a book together. And which one of you want to say what the name of the book is?
I'll bite.
All right, there you go. All right. Yep, Gina's breaking up a little bit, but we'll get through. There we go. Let me put this up here real quick. It is called The Promise. Yes, and we have two important people who contributed to the book besides us four. And they just want to explain who those two people are. All right. Well, the introduction is done by John Stewart, and the foreword was done by Rosie Torres of Burn Pits 360. And I don't know, Kim and Gina, can you hear me at all?
I can hear you now.
Okay.
Gina, good. It's a slight correction, though, Tim. The foreword was done by John Stewart, and the introduction was done by Rosie Torres.
Okay, that'll work. Now, how did this book come about?
Gina, do you want to take that one? No, I'll go ahead. I'll start it then.
Yes.
Well, this book started with a very original idea from a gentleman. What's that?
Is that the question? Okay.
Yeah. How did the idea of the book come about? Go ahead,
Gina.
Kim.
You want me to take it? I think she's frozen again.
Yeah.
So this book was a very unique idea that started by
Yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead, Kim.
Gina, you okay? You got it? You hear me? So it started from a wonderful gentleman named Tim Hauser, who actually,
I can hear you. Keep breaking up. You start and then I lose you.
Oh, that's okay. Just jump in. So it was a gentleman named Tim Hauser had a dream of putting together a wonderful idea, and it was like dreams do come true, you know, and one person can make a difference. And so we all kind of had the same idea. It was like, yeah, hey, you know, I always thought of that. Gina chimed in. She's like, I always thought of that. And everybody, we're like, let's do it. I says, we have a very unique unique story to tell. And
Yes.
so we all got together and we all helped make Tim's dream come true. And here it is.
Yeah, actually, I had that dream like the night before I told you all. For once, I didn't have any nightmares. It was actually a good dream. So now this all came about because we all met while we were advocating for the PACT Act. So you want let's try to get Gina in here. Gina, how did we meet?
We met, I think more in the beginning it was through Zoom. It was through a lot of the Zoom things. Every time you would we would have these group Zooms, you would hop on there and you would just be this wealth of information, and you'd always just be spitting out all of these things that you were doing and these people that you were reaching out to. And I was so impressed by just your advocacy and the things that you were entrenched in. My kind of got involved. And every time I came on, I was like, well, we need this, and I'm doing this, and I'm meeting with this, I'm doing all these things. And then the first time we actually met in person was until that here. Because the first time I spoke, I don't think you were there. The first time I met Kim, that was April of 2021. To try to get everybody to hop on board. And we were sitting behind you. You were sitting in front of us. You and Kevin were actually the girl. So that's a lot of Zoom. It was a lot on Zoom. And you were just always doing have moving in Ohio and getting people on board to do the right thing.
Yes, and I remember Kim. I think you also. We just lost Gina, but I think you also were at that dinner where we met for the first time too. I think it was at Bobby Van's.
Oh yeah.
The night before the Senate hearing.
Yeah, it was great food, by the way. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. Yeah, but yeah, we talked a little bit there. We had talked a little bit prior to that though. But it was just kind of, but I felt like a connection with you because I already knew that you knew Kevin. So it was like there was like that like an instant like, hey, you were talking to Kevin and I was talking to Kevin. And I had already known Gina too at the time. You jumped on board, and it was just like it was really kind of cool. It was like we all just kind of were like on the same page. We all kind of had the same thoughts. And then when it came around to the book, Tim, you were the first one to like come out and say the words of what we were all kind of thinking about. And then it just made sense for us to just come together and just put and share our words about about our friendship and this journey that we were on. Hi Gina, welcome back.
Yes, welcome back, Gina.
Hi, everybody disappeared for me for a little bit, so I don't know what happened there.
Yep, you're not breaking up anymore either. But 1 second here.
Well, that's good. Maybe the reconnecting actually fixed it.
Yes. Because someone in the chat says there's no sound, so we might have to all back out and come back in here in a moment. But we'll continue. And while you disappeared, we also mentioned that Kim was also at that dinner the night before the Senate hearing, where we all met in person for the first time. And it was at Bobby Van's. And she said that it was pretty much a instant connection between us all. So, and but I also need to let our audience know how Kevin and I met originally, because I don't think him and I's told that story on here yet. Yeah, Kevin noticed that I had posted about burn pits and how it affected me on Facebook. I don't know how he saw it, but he messaged me through Facebook and says, "Hey, give me a call. It'll change your life." And then he sent his phone number. And that's all he said. I'm like, who is this dude? And my wife Marcy, she goes, "What's he gonna do? Stalk you? Just give him a call." So I called and he told me about all of you at Burn Pitch 360 and how everybody wanted me to come join the team, and he was right. Definitely changed my life. So, but that's how Kevin and I met. And then I met you two on Zoom, I think the very next day or the day after, a couple days after. It was pretty quick after that. And then, oh man, things just took off like crazy from there.
We talk all the time.
Sure
We
did.
started talking all the time and sharing stories and meeting
Yep.
family members
And now,
Well,
you gotta be
part
on.
of it is, and that's
Go ahead. Go ahead, Gina.
that's part of it, as you said, like sharing experiences and things like that, and it's sharing experience, things like that, and it just makes you that you're not the only one going through this. It's not something you're sort of making
Right.
up in your mind, and it gives you that validation that that sometimes you're for, because you're not getting it in other places. When the VA denies you and things like that, you almost start to question yourself. But then once you start hearing all these other stories and things like that, you realize it's validated to say, no, it wasn't just me. This is this is a
Yes.
big problem.
and that was a big connection with Gina and I,
So and
because
finding
we
that,
were
and then
both struggling like that. We wanted to honor our husbands.
Speaking of your husbands, let's see here. Let's put these up here real quick. And we'll start with Gina first. If you want to tell us a little bit about Joe here.
that's Joe in Iraq in 2003. That was his only deployment over there, because he retired in 2006 from the Marine Corps Reserves, and they deployed after he had retired. So he missed their next deployments, but that was him in 03, where he slept for 6 months across from a burn pit. It was the very beginning of the war, and he was right across from where they would burn their waste and things like that. And yeah, that's him in Iraq.
All right. And then here is Gary. If you want to tell us a little bit about Gary, Kim.
Yeah, I sure do. That's my Gary.
Yes.
Oh man. Let's see. He was in the Persian Gulf. He was in Iraq, and then he was in Afghanistan. He was in this picture you can see he was a captain, because he's got the two bars in the front that he's wearing. He went to OCS. He was an officer, and before he passed away, he became a major. So he has the title of Major Gary Hughes. But he served our. He was 18 years old when he joined the service in October of 1986. Doesn't that sound long time ago? He was 18 years old, and he joined, and he got his GED, and he served for 27 years. And sadly, he came back from Afghanistan, sick. And that's kind of a little bit about Gary and what the story is all about. Yeah, that's my Gary.
All right. And yep, I served in the Gulf War too, and got out shortly after returning, because good old Bill Clinton there offered us contract buyout. So I don't know why. I just went ahead and did that and got out. And kind of regret that, but that's what I did. And then all of a sudden, all the hospital visits and doctors' offices and everything else start happening shortly after that. And I think you two can relate with that. Uh, and we kind of go over some of that in the book. And now, doing this book, what did it mean to you for doing this book? And we'll go with Kim first.
Okay, this book meant.
You can go, Kim.
Oh yeah, thank you. You're next. It was a way of helping to heal. It was helping find a direction, a purpose, um, and finding. Honestly, it was really those things, but it was also finding my tribe. Finding my people. And when I met you guys, it's like you get it. There's something about military and veterans, and we're a small group in the United States, so we all just kind of understand each other because we've kind of been through something. Um, Whether it be a deployment or living on base or going to a commissary or visiting a USO or just knowing what it's like to have a certain honor and respect and love for our country. So that's what really the book meant to me. It was just honoring my Gary, honoring my late husband, and honoring all those survivors and people like myself that couldn't have a voice or was at home taking care of a loved one that wanted to do something and may not have been able to. I feel like we're like little pieces of that puzzle to help get it put together. So that's what it meant to me.
All right. How about you, Gina? What did it mean to you for doing this book?
For me, just to get who Joe and things that he stood for, but also just to maybe bring that validation to other people, bring the information to other people, know that they're not alone. This is happening to a lot of people. Other people have been through what they've been through, and maybe it pushes them to do, to file a claim, or maybe it pushes them to find a tribe like we found to help them get through those rough times, or maybe it makes them realize there's some other purpose. They kids are strong, they're resilient, it's hard, but they'll be okay. But just trying to give people light and make them feel seen and validated and understood.
Yeah, it's pretty much for me too. And I just want to get it out there that it took me over 2 decades to get my service connection, and it was almost a death of me. The depression and everything that I went through while fighting for myself, and then it just clicked that nobody else should have to go through that. That was complete total bullshit on the government's part to make me suffer like that. And to find out that I wasn't the only one who went through that was very calming to me, actually. It helped relieve a lot of the depression, knowing that I wasn't the only one, but yet here we are fighting still, but to make sure nobody else went through that. Because that's just unreal, constantly being told that I was making it all up, and to finally show them that, hey, we caught you in your lie. Now fess up to it. So the book was like the final touch to all that for me.
Mhm.
So
It was almost therapeutic. We had to
yes.
I remember we were working on it and we all had to stop for a little while and just take a break. And then
Hmm.
we'd go back and start working on it again. But then we needed another break because there was just so many things that were coming up that we were,
Yes,
dealing with.
lot of emotion going through me when we were all
Mhm.
working on this.
Yeah, we all felt the same way.
Well, you're reliving.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hmm.
you're reliving things that you went through, and some of them aren't pleasant, and some of them you don't want to relive, but they're necessary to sometimes to put them behind you, but also sometimes to help somebody else and to move forward, and like you said, it relieved and it gave you a sense of calm, which I agree with too. And part of that I think is because when you're going through the whole process and somebody's in your face telling you no, or that you're making these things up, you have no other choice sometimes but to second guess yourself and to start
Right.
to think that it's you that's the problem or the issue or making these things up, when in fact once we found each other we realized that no, it's not the case. I mean, I'm still waiting for my claim to be reevaluated and reprocessed. Hopefully after the new year that'll happen. And with the
Hmm.
pact act will, it hopefully will get the survivors benefits. But yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to go
Oh
through, and
yes.
to think you're doing it alone or to think you're the only one is very that's a big weight. It's a big weight.
Now, I'll be the first one to admit us veterans we're stubborn as hell. We don't like to talk. So for me to speak out at these press conferences and everything was a huge step for me. I never thought I'd be able to do that. And then one thing that definitely helped me was when after the Senate hearing and we're at that press conference, and it was my first press conference in DC. Kim was standing behind me and she leaned over and she whispers in my ear, she says, "You ready to make history?"
Yep. Yes, I did.
And I think that had something snap in me because after that I was like, speaking up a storm everywhere. I just went nuts.
Yeah, I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that. That was a good moment.
Yes.
Yeah, it was stellar. We're just like, wow, and I'm like, yeah, this is. I kind of had the feeling it was kind of the vibe in the air. That
Hmm.
that something really special was happening, something really important was going on, and that we were a part of it. And
Yes.
the only way I could sum it up was history. We're just
Ah,
making history.
yeah, you hit it right on the nose. Another thing that I thought was cool was we're in the Senate hearing, and little did I know, but it was live on C-SPAN, and then the press conference too was live on C-SPAN, and at the whole time, Marcy's here in Cleveland, Ohio, texted me, telling me everything that she sees. Like, I just did that, not even a second ago. So yeah, it was surreal to actually go through something like that for the first time.
Gina, what did you do right afterwards? Right when it happened, was there somebody that you reached out to that you were texting with?
When which at what point at which point after it
When we
passed?
walked out. Yes, after it passed and we all walked outside for the press conference
After it
slash.
passed.
Yeah.
I didn't actually talk to anybody. I had the girls with me. So I mean, it was really whoever was there, around. I saw you. I saw John Stewart immediately after I saw John Stewart, and I discussed that in the book, and that was a moment I'll never forget. And then seeing Joe McKay, and how happy he was for all of us,
Mm.
um, and seeing you guys, obviously. But I didn't really text with any. I don't think I texted with anybody right afterwards because I had the girls and it was rounding up the girls and making sure they were settled and and they if they needed anything, and then running right to that press conference and standing there with, and you just, it's funny because I mentioned in the book again, you don't know how you're going to feel afterwards. And, you know, it was pretty incredible. It was it really was. And then I think
Oh
later I
yeah,
started
yeah.
getting
We
texts
had
once I started looking at my phone again. But
mhm.
yeah.
Oh man,
we had
yeah. I
John
was.
we had John Stewart and Joe McKay standing right
Yeah.
behind us. They were like right behind us. They were like, just looking over us like
Hmm.
just like little bird, like like we were baby birds, But yeah, no, that was I right away
The little
I
protectors, like the
FaceTime my
little
daughter.
protectors they are.
Yes, they are incredible people. And we're so grateful they have John Stewart wrote the forward. Amazing.
Yep, and I
So she could see it and be a part of everything because I wanted her to see. And I'm crying, but it was really cool.
yeah, Marcy was watching on C-SPAN the night it passed, and she was texting me and my sister and my mother-in-law and my brother-in-law and trying to keep up with all those texts and talk with all the media is all that was going on. I was walking out of the Senate building with Rosie Torres, and she just about gave me a heart attack as soon as we got outside, and she got a hold of Leroy on the phone, and she collapsed. So I'm trying to catch her. She's falling, and she's sobbing so uncontrollably. It scared me at first, and then finally she was able to start to talk and everything, and that was, yeah, that was something. She her collapsing and stuff like that was just unbelievable. Um, and then to hear all the politicians speak after it passed was another very calming moment for me. To hear them actually state that they made huge mistakes in the past and they were trying to make it up to us with this was, to me, I found it calming again, because to be acknowledged like that from somebody who could have done something 20 years ago, finally admitting that they were wrong to begin with, and this was to help make up for that. I never heard politicians apologize like that before. And listening to them speak after it passed, what did it mean to, how did it make you feel, Kim?
Actually, when they were talking, I was just so overwhelmed in the moment. Just like Rosie did, I think we all kind of came out of the Senate portion, just kind of sobbing in tears and full of so many mixed emotions and everything. They actually, when they were talking, I kind of was like, still like, this really happened. I was still like in shock and awe.
Yeah.
It was a happy ending. You know what I mean? To a long journey and a long a story, personal stories for so many of us. So many of us. We all have so many stories, and for people to finally go ahead and acknowledge it just the acknowledgement was was helpful in the process, and because we're a country of volunteering that our veterans volunteer, and they were finally acknowledged, and that meant so much to so many, and it still does today. Is we push forward and we're educating people, and the VA now has so many claims and they're a little overwhelmed, and it's like, oh my gosh, our stories were just little pieces again to this huge puzzle, and everybody's story is important, and everybody has a story, and it begins and it ends in some way, fashion, and form. I like that our story is continuing. I get a big kick out of that.
Yes.
But what it meant is, I think it meant that it was a beginning of decades of healing. That's what it meant to me.
Yeah, I can see that too. Yeah. How about you, Gina? How did it make you feel listening to all them speak after the bill passed?
It made me feel better that their actions actually backed up their words.
Yeah.
The PACT Act had passed, and that the PACT Act would start to heal people and start to help people. But, people can say a lot of things, but when pushed up, they don't actually do them. So to have the words there is great, and that was great. And then, but the actions were better for me, that they acted on it and that they pushed for it, and that these people stood by us. When some of them, when nobody else was standing by us, and then some of them when when we needed them to stand by us. So the apologies are great, and acknowledging something is great for the validation, and it's great for moving forward. And I hope that my hope is that because this is out there now, somebody else gets the early care that they deserve, and they don't have to die like Gary and Joe did. And it's acknowledged, and it's out, and the information is getting out there. There's a long way to go to get the information out to everybody who needs to hear it and needs to know about it. But I'm hopeful that it helps people, and that maybe the errors that were made don't happen again. That's what I'm hoping, all those words and acknowledgments.
Yeah, now that we got the ball in our court, as far as veterans and spouses go, we need to keep running with this, because there's more to be done. Like we had Amanda Barbosa on here talking about the Barbosa Act, and that's for colonoscopies and colon screenings for veterans coming back. Have them done within a certain time frame, because that seems to be the biggest cancer right now with veterans. It's rapidly growing up on the list is colon cancer, and then by the time the veterans finding out that they have colon cancer, it's too late. And colon cancer is one of the easiest cancers to cure, one of the easiest ones to detect. So if this act goes through, then it's going to be mandatory colonoscopies within, I think, a 2-year time frame of when they return from a war zone. And it's going to drop the age limit as well, because right now, if you're active duty, you cannot get a colonoscopy until you're 45. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Which means 95% of all active duty members will not get a colonoscopy while they are on active duty, because they'll be retired by the time they're 45. So most, like your colonels and generals, they're the ones that'll be that old, and they're the ones that'll be getting the colonoscopies. So it's going to drop that age limit too. Also, it's going to make it easier for veterans in the VA system to get colonoscopies, because once a veterans request one, the VA will have to honor that. They won't have to say, well, you don't have any symptoms yet or anything like that. If the veteran suggests they want a colonoscopy, then they have to give them a colonoscopy. So it's going to help a lot too. And then there's the Richard Major Starr Act. What a lot of people don't realize, who never been in the military, if you retire and then you file a claim with the VA and it's approved and you get compensation, they deduct that compensation out of your retirement pay. That, I think, is a bunch of total bullshit too. You earn that retirement. You also earn that compensation as well. So you should be allowed to get both, not one or the other. So that's why a lot of retirees don't go to the VA. I mean, one, they get TRICARE, but two, they'll lose money if they file a claim. And I don't think that's right. They shouldn't have to give up one for the other. So that's another thing that needs to be done. As now moving forward, I know we probably got some book signings and stuff being scheduled, right, Kim?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. It's exciting. It's
Yes.
exciting because we're gonna, just be a part of sharing our stories, and hopefully the people will read them and they'll make a difference, or they'll know somebody that they could, pass the information on to, and it's just part of we're sharing our story. It's not easy to get to. It's not an easy thing to do. To put a book together. It was,
You're right.
and it's not easy to put yourself out there, and it's not easy to go. But you know what? If we go ahead and we do it and we share our stories, and to educate others and to help others, then you know what? If we can just help, you know what I mean, one person, we would. It was,
Yes.
it was well worth it. It was well worth it. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, book signings are interesting. They're important. So we're going to be starting to schedule those things, and we don't know where it's going to take us, but we're going to go ahead and figure it out, and we're going to have some interesting. I'm sure we're going to meet some wonderful, interesting people along the way, and
Yes. Yes.
we'll see where it goes.
And before we continue here, I forgot to do this in the beginning. Today's episode is dedicated to all the veterans and family members that the PACT Act will help. So this episode's for you folks. You're the reason why we advocated for the PACT Act. That's the reason why we're having this episode. And actually, they're the reason why this book actually came about. Because if it wasn't for us wanting to fight for them, we would never have met. And what's Kevin's famous saying that he says? We're family by tragedy. I can't remember the whole quote that he says, but I know Kim will look it up and she'll find
I'm looking at it. Well, I don't want. I know, but I don't want to missay it. Just like you.
Yeah.
I don't want to misquote him. I'll find it.
Now, Gina, as we were advocating, you always had your daughters with you. And what did it mean to them to be able to be part of this?
Yeah. 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 So anytime I went anywhere, I mean, now the show's gone, it's three of us, and my kids don't have any grandparents, so it's not like I can leave them with them, and I have who are great, and siblings-in-law who are great, and nieces, but that requires them to take off work or to adjust their schedules to be with the kids. Plus, quite honestly, when I brought it up and said I was doing it, the kids both just jumped and said, "Okay, we're coming with you, Mom." And they were all on board. And I'm thankful for their understanding and encouragement to do it. Because had they not, then I probably wouldn't have gone forward with going on all these trips, because I wouldn't have left them. They've been through too much. I wouldn't have left them. So I wouldn't have gone had they not been on board. I probably wouldn't have written the book had I not. I know I wouldn't have written the book had I not had their blessing, and had they both not been comfortable with sort of the story out there. Because it's a family story. It's not just my story. It's not just Joe's story. It's the whole family story. And they needed to be comfortable with it being there. And it's hard when you're a kid. It's hard when you're an adult, but it's really hard when you're a kid. So I'm thankful for them, and I mentioned it in the book that I'm thankful that they were long on the journey, that they supported me doing it, because I wouldn't have done it without them. Or to DC, they'd say okay. I'd say we're going back. They'd be like okay, and you know, other people and finding out that there was other families that were going through this, and but it made them feel bad too, though, because they, always look at certain things when you're a kid, and then when you start to see politics and the way it works, and then you start to see, you think, my husband was a Marine for 20 years. My husband was a, police officer in law enforcement, and
Mhm.
you start to see that, the support that people are sort of, like I said, speak about, they're not acting on, or they're not actually doing the things that they're saying. And I think it was also a learning experience for all of us,
Yes. Mhm.
to learn things that you don't know or you don't realize. It was a good experience. Um, and I'm thankful for them.
Yes, and I know my son wanted to go to every time I went to DC or anywhere to speak, he wanted to go with me. He did get to go on a couple trips. He did go to DC once. I brought Marcy and Zakar with me once, and they got to go in the Senate chambers as well. They went the first time that the bill was passed. But yeah, he was like, "All right, Dad, let me pack. I know you're leaving here in an hour. I can be ready. I can go." Like, no, you got school tomorrow. You can't go. And or all right, let me see your speech. I gotta approve your speech first before you can say it. And then he helped me organize a rally here in Twinsburg, and helped me do a press conference with Senator Sherrod Brown. So yeah, he was called himself my manager. So,
It's great. My
yeah.
my kids were a little bit older, so and my son he has a full-time job, and my daughter was in college, away at college, so they were kind of not as involved as they would have liked to have been, but they kept up with
Hmm.
everything, and was always asking, and Mom, you're going again. Mom, where are you going now? Where are you going now? So I'm always going somewhere. I've traveled a lot, and reached out to a lot of people, and tried to raise as much awareness of it along the way. But I have always just appreciated seeing your kids along the way, and thank you guys so much for sharing your kids with me, because
Hmm.
we all just kind of started intertwining our families. And which reminds me, I got Kevin's quote.
Yes.
Kevin can't be here with us today, but Kevin, we're thinking about you. And to quote Kevin, he said, "We are family through tragedy, advocating for triumph."
There you go. That's the quote. And that quote's amazing.
And Kevin would have his wife Teresa would join us. So
Hmm.
I think we all had people that were coming to, interact, whether
Yes.
they could be with us or not. Everybody was
Hmm.
interacting with us in our within our little group, and we were That's when we started sharing our families with each other.
Yes. And then Kevin and I would travel together a lot,
Yeah.
and share hotel rooms and stuff. And
Yeah, Teresa too.
mhm. Yep. And yeah, so huge bond was formed between the four of us. That's for sure. Well, five. Got include Teresa in on that too. She was in DC a lot too. Um, yeah, this midnight getting those texts. Hey, the book's available on pre-sale now.
Yeah. I stayed up till midnight. I was like, I'm staying up till midnight. I want to see it. I want to see it.
Yeah. So yes, folks, you can go
And how
to.
many countries is it in? I forget.
Oh man, yeah, I lost count. It's quite a few. Um, but yes, it's available now on Amazon for pre-sale. The books will ship at the end of January. And matter of fact, if your organization would like us to come and speak or do a book signing in your area, you can go to the webpage and email us, and we'll get something figured out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a contact on the website, and there's also, what did he
Yes.
get? The QR code, as the
And
kids
it's
call them
16
nowadays.
countries.
16
16. Thank you,
countries.
Gina.
Wow.
16, yes, 16 countries, but 10 of them do not do pre-sale. So I mean, 6 of them. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them do not do pre-sale, so it might not show up in those countries yet until it's printing and being distributed.
And what is the website?
www.thepromisepactact.com. All Tim's getting it. He's going to put it up.
Right. Yep. There we go. Scrolling on the bottom. That's the web page for the book. And it'll have a link to Amazon on there, and you can
Look like we're
pre-order the
sleeping.
book now. All right. And now, one thing I know I haven't said in the past, but I appreciate you two so much.
We appreciate you right back. You know that.
Oh, yes. And somebody just joined us. Let's see here.
It's
Hello,
amazing,
buddy.
Tim, how dreams do come true.
Hey, Kevin.
If it wasn't for you bringing it up, we wouldn't be about doing it. I don't think.
But Kevin finally joined us here. Hi, Kevin. We were just talking about you, sir.
Oh, probably won't hear me too good. I'm on the cell phone.
That's all right. We're having little technical difficulties here and there, but we're getting through this. And we just talked about you and your famous quote.
Which one is that?
Which one is that? Family by tragedy, advocating for triumph. And we just lost. Oh, there he is.
So, how's the family doing? How's everybody?
We're good.
Great
We're
to see
excited.
everybody. Yeah.
We're excited.
Look at us all together.
Yes.
Yeah, I heard.
Oh, yes.
I heard we had a book on pre-sale. Is that true? Can anybody confirm that rumor?
Yes. Yes, it is true. That's what we've been talking about.
All right.
And then also talking about the emotions and everything we did while advocating. And one of the things we were talking about was listening to the politicians speak after the bill was passed and how that made us feel. And how did that make you feel, Kevin, listening to them speak after the PACT Act was passed?
You know, it's all kind of a blur. You know, to be honest with you, I mean, the emotions that were going on, the up and down roller coaster that we had with it passed, it didn't pass, it again. I was waiting for the bottom to fall out or something like that all over again. I was just cautiously optimistic that this thing actually was going to get to the president's desk and was actually going to get signed. So it was kind of a blur, and you know, I was looking for all of you to get with and hug and celebrate with, and that's basically the priority that I had. But it's still, even after August and almost January, it's still kind of I can't believe it still.
Yeah, same here. Now I'm trying to think here because so much happened so quickly that night. And then after all the speeches, all the microphones being shoved in our faces and followed us all the way down the street, and then but then to get the invitation to the White House, several months later or a couple months later, that I was in shock when I got that.
Then we had to go back again.
Yeah. But this time we didn't have to fight. The only thing we had to fight was the heat.
Yeah.
And the media.
Right.
And the
That was
rain.
it.
And the rain.
And
And the
the
dark.
rain. Yep. Then me getting arrested on Pennsylvania Avenue that night after the bill was signed. I wouldn't say arrested. I did. They were joking around with me. Yeah, Gino come back on. She's been having some problems today, but yeah. After that night, while everybody else was taking naps and everything, recuperating from being in that heat and everything, waiting to get into the White House.
Oh man!
8 o'clock in the morning, and it was already 95 degrees.
Right.
And we're all in suits and dresses and everything else. And man, there she is. She's back.
Oh yeah. Well, when we went to the White House, we looked good. But I'm just gonna say, and I'll put it on the record, when we were on the Capitol, we were not pretty. We were not.
Oh no! Oh no!
I had no makeup on. My hair was a mess. I've been rained on. It was, and then there's pictures, and I'm just like, oh my god.
Right. I don't think I stopped.
Like the worst. We all looked awful because it was how we felt.
Oh, I know we stunk too, man.
Oh my! Geez. It was the smell was terrible.
Oh,
I was wet. I was hanging my clothes on branches. It was just crazy.
You just made me remember something. When we were in the Senate chambers watching them vote for the last time on the bill.
Yeah.
One of the ushers started going like this. Right in front of Rosie and I, because I was sitting next to Rosie. Kevin was sitting a few rows up, and Gina was over a few seats over to my left, and the usher's standing right in front of Rosie and I, and he's going like this. I says, dude, I know we stink, man, but you don't have to broadcast it. And he's like, no, it's just hot up here. I says, yeah, because we're all stinking and everything. Of course you.
Oh shit! What was that?
Uh-oh.
Sorry.
You all right?
Gotta blow up. Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Yep.
It's pothole season.
Yeah.
Yeah, good times.
But yeah, usher, man, I was cracking up. And then several sections over where Jon Stewart was sitting, he was doing the same thing. He would stand up and point at us and like doing the same thing, like it stunk. And he was part of the reason. We lost Gina again, but she'll be back on. And so what else did we discuss before that? Oh yeah, Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
What did it mean by doing this book to you?
Well, it gave us an opportunity to kind of reflect on a lot of things, good, bad, and indifferent. What I'm hoping that this book does for a lot of people is that it shows that even in dark times there can be a light at the end of the tunnel. Mm-hmm. That we can actually come out of bad situations at the time and bring some kind of peace and some kind of solidarity to folks for advocating for things that they believe in, whether it be our children, adults. You know, I've been told so many times one person can't make a difference, and look what just, you know, four of us that are from all parts of the different different world here in the U.S. And we came together, and we probably would have never met and never done this before had this not happened this way. And now look at what we've done. I mean, we've come together to share our stories and our to share the stories of the fallen through Kim and through Gina, and this book is relatable to all aspects of military service and going through some dark times and coming out and finding hope for others. That they can have hope for their loved ones and their families, because that's what it's all about. The survivors, the widows, the veterans, the current military folks, the ones that are thinking about enlisting, that now realize that now the military is going to be or the VA is going to be taking care of the honoring their promise, and that's why we named it The Promise, because that's why we wanted to honor it. We wanted to honor our promise to all veterans, survivors, widows, military, spouses, kids. That's what it was all about, and that's why we came together on it. I'm so proud of each and every one of you, and I'm so honored to be your friends.
We're very proud and honored to be your friend as well. It's more than friends; we're family, man.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
And before you popped up here, Kevin, we dedicated this episode to all the veterans and their families who will be helped by the PACT Act.
Over 5 million veterans and their families, and
yes,
and the bigger thing is that the widows need to put in their refile their claims if they haven't done so. The veterans need to file their claims if they haven't done so. And we still got a mountain. We still got that hurdle to climb to get people the benefits and care that they deserve. And hopefully after January, this can start training some lives and some turning some people into better situations. Because let me tell you, the burden of proof is no longer on us, and it shouldn't have to been. But I mean, after stacks and stacks of evidences and denials, now we're at the point of where we can bring our evidence in, put me in for this claim. They look it over, bam, we get this claim. We served here, we did this, and now we're going to be taken care of. And same thing with the widows and survivors, because that needs to be articulated to them, that they can refile and get their claims in, because it's all about serving all of those that fall under the PACT Act, not just the onesies and twosies.
That's right. And I had no idea how far we were reaching veterans, the four of us, until yesterday. I, along with the Cleveland Cavaliers, gave out Christmas cards to veterans hospitalized at the Cleveland Wade Park VA Hospital. And we walked into one room.
Blew the tire.
Yeah,
and the veteran who's lying in the hospital bed asked me to pull my mask down for a second so he can take a look at who I was. And all of a sudden he goes, "Oh my God, you're Tim Hauser. You're on TV all the time. You are helping all our brothers and sisters." I'm like, I didn't know. I mean, we all been on TV quite a bit, but geez, oh beats, I didn't know we were making that big of an impact.
I was at the UPS store. And he's like, "Oh my God." Because I go in there regularly, and he goes in the back, he grabs his phone, and he turns around and he shows us a picture of me doing some press. And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Is that you?" And I'm like, "Well," I says, without makeup, because it was, during that time, we're all sweaty and no makeup and no showers and everything. But I know the feeling, Tim. It was kind of unique, where it's like, oh my gosh, somebody notice that you made a difference. And isn't that what we all need in this world? You know what I mean? It's just for people to notice us and to make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And this book will go ahead and
yes
help do that. And it's incredible. It's amazing. Like I said before, it's so not easy to put yourself out there, and it's not easy
Mm-hmm.
to write things, and like Gina said, relive things, and you have to stop for a second and go back and work through these emotions and stuff like that. And we're sharing a part of our lives, with in this book, and I'm really excited to see what comes of it, and
down there.
where it takes us, and
Okay.
and how it will help.
Yes. And so, Kevin, what
Yeah.
was one aspect of doing this whole advocating thing that you'll never forget about?
I think it's the amount of people that we touched, not only just in over social media, but in person. I mean, we when the fire watch started, we had 3 people, and then it turned into 157 people plus,
Mm-hmm.
and it turned into different countries that were talking about it, and resonating with England and Brazil and Australia and New Zealand, and
Yes.
different just different countries all over the world that were watching this and seeing that we did this the right way. We did this the right way. We can get things done when we unite and come together.
Yep.
Kim has said it over and over. It's not a red and blue issue. It's a red, white, and blue issue. And I steal that as much as possible from Kim. So I'm
Yes.
sorry, but
Yeah, I steal it too.
and it resonates. It resonates with. We did a town hall or press conference with Senator Peters' office from Michigan, and when I look for the representatives and the senators and congressional delegates, as soon as I say that, I look for their response, because
Mm-hmm.
I want to make sure that they know that we know that this ain't just a red, white, or red and blue issue. That this is a red, white, and blue issue, and we couldn't have got this done without bipartisanship and getting
That's
all
right.
these people on board with this, because it's the largest piece of legislation in over 4 decades for veterans, and
Mm-hmm.
it's going to help families. It's going to help their legacy. I'm really hoping, just me personally, and I know you guys are too, and I don't mean to take it away from you, but I've told people that I've hoped that this helps reduce the suicide rate, that the burden of
That's
proof
right.
is now off the veterans and the spouses and the family members. So maybe this will curve that number of 22 or 30 or 17 or whatever number that they manufacture.
Right.
I just hope it reduces the way that people think, and let them know that they're not alone and their voices can be heard, and they're important, and they're considered, because that's what it's all about, taking consideration for one another and actually doing something, and making some difference. And we did that. We totally did that.
Yep. And some of the speaking points that we all used in a lot of our speeches was this bill goes a lot further than just providing health care.
Yep.
It
Yep.
it's going to help veterans from becoming homeless.
Yep.
Because they no longer have to decide between their prescriptions or their rent or their mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to keep them from becoming addicts,
yep.
because they're not going to rely on self-medication now, because they're going to be able to get the health care that they need.
Hopefully this
And
helps
two,
with the divorce rate, incarcerations, suicide, all of it.
exactly.
And speaking of which, we do have the 988 number. It is on
Yes,
our
yes.
website, and it is in our book.
Yes. Matter of fact, let me put that up here real quick.
Mm-hmm. And we have it in there because it is that important for us to go ahead
Yes.
and recognize these issues.
Look, I'll be the first to admit I get counseling and it helps.
And it was Tim. It was your idea to go ahead and do that. When that number came out,
Mm-hmm.
you were the first one to be like immediately that needs to go in there, and we all
Yes.
agreed immediately. So Got to give credit where
Yeah.
credit's due.
and that we're talking so close to Christmas. We hope we don't lose anybody.
Yes, exactly.
Over the holidays and beyond, because this number is important. Talk to your buddies, talk to your brothers and sisters, talk to your family members. Call the Veterans Crisis Line. Get the help that you need, because we want you to be around and you're not alone. And that's what we care about the most, is that you get the help that you need so you can be here, because I'd rather hear your story than your obituary.
And this is not only for veterans, it's for families
Nope.
as well, too. It's
Correct.
for children,
Correct.
it's for spouses, it's for loved ones, it's for grandparents, and it's for everybody.
Exactly. And welcome back, Gina.
Hi, Gina.
She's having a hard time today. But yeah.
Okay.
And I'm glad you brought that up, Kevin, because a lot of people don't know, but Christmas Eve is a very rough day for my family. Lots happened to us on Christmas Eve, and one of them was my brother Dennis, who was a veteran, decided he was going to be part of 21 other veterans that day, and he took his own life on Christmas Eve, and it looks like this year the weather's going to be about the same as it was that Christmas Eve, a blizzard and cold and windy and snowing, but so that's why it was important for me to make sure that this was in the book, because I lost my brother. I don't want to lose anymore. And all right, it's about that time though, folks. About time to wrap this up. And all right, Kim, we'll go with you first. What do you want people to know about the book?
I want people to know, well, that it's out there, that it exists, and that some people coming together can make a difference, that your voice can be heard. And if you can't do it directly, somebody else can go ahead and stand up for you. But it's about caring, hope, love, and sharing, and just telling the world that, there's things here that need to be fixed. So while we're here, let's go ahead and fix them.
That's right. And
we can do it.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
You can do it.
All right, Kevin, what about you? What's one thing you want people to know about the book?
It's kind of mirroring what Kim said. The book's out there. I don't want to give too much away, but understand that, we came together in solidarity and unity to fight for hope and answers. And we've been through a lot, and I'm not trying to go negative here on the past, but we've been through a lot, and now we're hopefully finding a place that we can come together, and the light is at the end of the tunnel. So read the book. You'll find a lot of similarities and a lot of veterans' experiences in these books. The quest for hope and answers and solidarity is here. We found it through each other. We found it through one another, and we will continue to press on and help out for the better good of veterans, their families. And again, I'm so excited. I'm so honored and privileged to be a part of this with all of you. And buy the book, and we would appreciate it. And let us know how similar. Reach out to us. Let us know how similar, or what kind of similar paths.
Yes.
You're a veteran, or the veteran yourself, or your mother or father, or whoever reads this book, traveled the world to find out those answers, because you'll see a lot of similarities. And thank you for the opportunity to give us a chance to hear our stories.
Yes.
Thank you for letting our voices be heard, and our friendship is important.
Yes, it is. I was just getting ready to say
we're pushing forward. We got more work to do.
That's right. This to me, this book was made out of respect and love we have for each other and for our fellow veterans and their families out there. We did what we did because of you out there. We didn't do it for part of the reason was we did it for ourselves, but we did it because we wanted to do it for you. And the book kind of mentions that in there, and so hopefully y'all buy it, read it, and let us know what you think. And also, you can contact us anytime about any questions about the PACT Act. You can reach out to us if you need someone to talk to. We're all available. All right. Any last words, guys?
No.
All right.
We're gonna keep working on it. We're gonna keep advocating. We're gonna keep getting the word out there. We're gonna keep educating people, and we're gonna keep implementing.
And before we go, I want to thank John Stewart for his contribution to the book, Rosie Torres for her contribution to the book. Also, Rosie, the four of us owe you huge thanks. Because if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have had the opportunity to advocate for the bill. And by doing that, we would not have been given a lot of opportunities to help our fellow veterans and be able to do this book. So a lot of thanks goes out to Rosie Torres.
Yes, for sure. For sure.
Thanks for letting us tell our stories.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Rosie.
Thank you very much, Rosie. And
Rosie,
Leroy.
and Burn Brits 360.
360. Yes.
Leroy. And their dog.
Hope. Yeah, Hope. Yeah.
And Hope.
That's right. Hope.
Gina's daughter.
Forgot about Hope. Yes.
Right.
Yes, I forgot all about Hope. We got to meet Hope the last time we went to DC. All right. All right, folks. We do not know who will be on. We're going to skip the 28th. We will not have an episode on the 28th. We are going to wait until after New Year's to do another episode. We don't know who we'll have on yet, but just keep an eye on our Facebook page, and you'll see who will be coming on. And thank you for tuning in. And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's to everybody.
Merry Christmas,
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. We'll see you later.
What?